Have you ever felt like you had all the facts, yet still couldn't see the big picture? Why is having all the facts not the same as having wisdom? This is the crucial question your soul asks of the intellect. We are exploring the Citrinitas Test, a vital investigation into whether pure intellect, devoid of the influence of spirituality, truly limits our understanding. Join us as we discover if a higher state of enlightenment is the key to transforming mere knowledge into profound wisdom and undeniable inner power. Many of us were taught to treat the mind as a data vault, an efficient calculation machine. Our educational systems, and even modern culture, often prioritize the accumulation of data over genuine understanding. This leads us to a dangerous illusion that pure intellect is the supreme measure of truth. But the awakening of consciousness demands more. It demands resonance. The great question that stands before any journey of self-knowledge is this: is it truly possible to understand something if we cannot feel its resonance? The intellect can describe the flower, but only the soul smells its fragrance. What we lack is a stage, a step of transmutation. In the alchemy of the soul, this stage is known as Citrinitas, the yellowing, the dawn where the silver of the mind meets the gold of the spirit. Perhaps, at this very moment, you feel overwhelmed by information yet starved for deep meaning. You are not broken. You are in transformation. That hunger is the language of your living soul asking for the next level of presence. Pure intellect operates in a dimension that Carl Jung called ego consciousness, necessary for function and logic, but incomplete for the totality of the being. When we elevate logic above all else, we create a shadow of unprocessed truths, because we deny the reality of everything that cannot be measured. Jung taught us that individuation, the process of becoming a complete individual, requires the integration of the unconscious, of what is intuitive and symbolic. Intellect, on its own, is crucially unable to see the big picture, causing brilliant minds to stumble over basic human issues. The problem is not knowledge, but the arrogance of thinking it is the only spiritual truth. Intellect without spirituality is a compass without a star. Khalil Gibran captures this duality with clarity. Reason, seeking its own freedom, is a restriction, and spirit, singing freely, is in itself a prison. If your soul is wise, it will not seek the freedom of the body, nor will it try to bind reason. True inner freedom lies in the dance, the fluidity between intellect and soul. But if the intellect is limited, how does the modern world, dominated by information and computational logic, deal with this shadow? We must look beyond the algorithms. We live in the age of algorithms and big data. Artificial intelligence can process more information in 1 second than you can in a lifetime. But it fails miserably at interpreting complex human experiences and spiritual concepts. The machine can recognize a pattern of sadness, but it will never know what grief is. The data dilemma is that information overload, paradoxically, generates a spiritual hunger. The more we know about the outside world, the emptier we feel inside. This is where epistemic humility comes in, the sacred recognition that you do not know, especially in the realm of deep truths. It is the gateway to silent wisdom. Only when the intellect bows does intuition arise. What if the sense of existential unease you feel is not a flaw, but your very living soul trying to alert you to the limitation of your own knowing? It is precisely at this crossroads, where knowing flows into existential emptiness, that alchemy offers us the answer. It is time to reveal what Citrinitas actually is. Citrinitas is not magic, nor an empty promise. It is an elevated state of consciousness where intuition and intellect do not compete, but merge. In alchemy, it is the stage where the gross matter is refined, achieving the clarity and discernment of pure gold. Intellect brings the form, intuition, the meaning. Jung, in studying alchemy, saw this process as a metaphor for inner transformation, where knowledge becomes experiential and therefore sacred. Ancient and modern perspectives on spiritual enlightenment agree. This state manifests in creative breakthroughs, problem-solving, and, above all, inner peace. Presence is the furnace that operates this fusion. When you are fully present, the intellect does not dominate, it serves. Rumi, the Sufi poet, translates this fusion into poetry. Knowledge that is not with us, but somewhere outside, is a burden upon us. Knowledge that becomes part of us, in every fiber, is light. But how can we apply this state of Citrinitas in the chaos of our daily lives? How do you know if your knowledge has already become this lightness? That is what the Citrinitas Test is for. The Citrinitas Test is, in essence, a test of resonance. We present scenarios where pure intellect fails, such as in complex decisions of the heart, reading subtle signs of life, or overcoming deep grief. In these moments, Citrinitas provides the clarity that transcends cold logic. It is about cultivating an alchemical transformation of knowledge into genuine wisdom. It is not about acquiring more, but about integrating what is already known on a cellular level. You are challenged to identify areas in your own life where information is not translating into understanding. Why do you know the theory of patience but lose it at the first obstacle? Deep metaphor. Think of your soul as an inner kindling. The intellect brings the firewood, the data, but it is presence that lights the candle that stays lit in the silence. This flame, lit by presence, points us to a path. A practical map for enlightenment that demands more than wisdom. It demands purpose. The path to enlightened wisdom requires a conscious shift, from data collection to the search for meaning and connection. We offer practical strategies for overcoming the gap between intellectual understanding and spiritual enlightenment. This begins with the practice of kindness to the now, inner listening, and the recognition that true power comes not just from knowing what, but from understanding why and how. It is not about having an answer, but about being the answer. I suggest an inner ritual of silence. For just 5 minutes, upon waking or before sleeping, sit in inner silence. Let the intellect rest. Ask your soul, what is the truth my knowing has not yet reached? The answer will come, not in words, but in fluidity, in a subtle insight, like the wind blowing away the dust of the ego. The Citrinitas Test is not something you pass or fail. It is a journey of inner reform, the passage from student to sage. The world is already flooded with information. What is missing is the wisdom to live it. Remember, not all pain is punishment. Some pains are teachers. The pain that confuses you today is the portal to the spiritual clarity that only the fusion between mind and soul can offer. Conclusion with reflective question. What if the most important knowledge you need to discover is not in a book, but in the silent presence of your own soul? If you felt touched by these words, I invite you to take the next step on this journey of self-knowledge. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to nurture this newly lit flame and continue walking with us on the same frequency. Leave your experience in the comments. Your sharing is also a seed of healing for other hearts. If you are looking for a safe haven, know that our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. And to continue expanding your sanctuary of clarity, we suggest the video in the card. May it be a new source of inspiration, peace and light.